Good morning, guys. All right, so the week before spring break, we read the story After the Fall. And remember, After the Fall was a different version of the nursery rhyme Humpty Dumpty. So today we're going to read the story The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pigs. So I want you to think about that. Does that title remind you of any other story? Let's see. We're going to be studying fairy tales, and a fairy tale is a fictional story that focuses on good and evil. Remember when we read Little Red and the Very Hungry Lion? Little Red was the good version. The Very Hungry Lion was supposed to be bad. So, in the original story of the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf, you might say that the three little pigs were good and the big bad wolf was evil, but this is going to be a little bit different, okay? These are things that you can usually tell if it's going to be a fairy tale. Once upon a time. If it starts with the words once upon a time, it's probably a fairy tale. If it uses numbers of 3 or 7, the three little pigs, the 7 dwarfs, they use those numbers a lot. And then if it has talking animals or magic or royalty, there's lots of times different princes or princesses. And then if it gives us a lesson, it's supposed to teach us something. The story we're going to read today is what we call a fractured fairy tale. Fractured fairy tales involve the author making a change to the characters, settings, or major events. The purpose is usually for humor, to make it funny. So think about that. We know the original story of the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf. This is going to be the Three Wolves and the Big Bad Pig. So it's a fractured fairy tale. Now, as we read this story, these are some words that you're going to need to know, some vocabulary words. A wheelbarrow is a small cart that's used to carrying rocks and soil. See how you can move around your garden with it? And then secure means giving safety, free from danger. So you might be secure inside of a storm shelter during a storm. A scent is just a smell. And then to sway means to swing back and forth or to rock. And then grunt is to make a short, deep sound of a hog, okay? So we are going to read the story, The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig. So remember, this is our fractured fairy tale, and it's written by Eugene Trevallis and Helen Oxbury. Now, when I'm reading this, you're going to have a job. I want you to think about the Big Bad Pig, and I want you to remember what he's doing, because we're going to try to recall these facts at the end to each wolf. Once upon a time, there were 3 cuddly little wolves with soft fur and fluffy tails who lived with their mother. The first wolf was black, the second was gray, and the third was white. One day, the mother called the 3 wolves around her and said, "My children, it is time for you to go out into the world. Go and build a house for yourselves, but beware of the big bad pig." "Don't worry, Mother. We will watch out for him," said the 3 little wolves, and they set off. Soon they met a kangaroo who was pushing a wheelbarrow full of red and yellow bricks. "Please, will you give us some bricks?" said the 3 little wolves. "Certainly," said the kangaroo, and she gave them lots of red and yellow bricks. So the 3 little wolves built themselves a house of bricks. So in this story, they start with the house of bricks. The very next day, the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of bricks and that the 3 little wolves had built. The 3 little wolves were playing croquet in the garden when they saw the big bad pig coming and ran inside the house and locked the door. The pig knocked on the window and grunted, little wolves, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the 3 little wolves. "By the hair on your chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china pot." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his sledgehammer, and he knocked the house down. The 3 little wolves only just managed to escape, before the bricks crumbled, and they were very, very frightened indeed. "We shall have to build a stronger house," they said. And just then they saw a beaver who was mixing concrete in a concrete mixer. "Please, will you give us some of your concrete?" asked the three little wolves. "Certainly," said the beaver, and he gave them buckets and buckets full of messy, slurry concrete. So the three wolves built themselves a house of concrete. No sooner had they finished than the big bad pig came prowling down the street and saw the house of concrete and the little wolves had built. They were playing battledore and shuttlecock in the garden, and when they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside their house and shut the door. The pig rang the bell and said, "Little frightened wolves, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in for all of the tea leaves in our china pot." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed and he puffed and he puffed and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. You're not going to blow down a concrete house with just air. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his mnemonic drill. So it's this drill that you can break apart concrete and smash the house down. The three little wolves managed to escape by their chinny chin chins, though they were trembling and trembling and trembling. "We shall have to build an even stronger house," they said, because they were very determined. Remember, determined means you're going to do it. Just then they saw a man coming along the road carrying barbed wire, iron bars, armored plates, and heavy metal padlocks. "Please, will you give us some of your barbed wire, a few iron bars, and armored plates, and some heavy metal padlocks?" they said to the rhinoceros who was driving the truck. "Sure," said the rhinoceros, and he gave them plenty of barbed wire, iron bars, armored plates, and heavy padlocks. He also gave them some plexiglass and some reinforced steel change because he was very generous and kind-hearted rhinoceros. So the three little wolves built themselves an extremely strong house. It was the strongest, securest house one could ever imagine, and they felt absolutely safe. The next day, the big bad pig came prowling along the road as usual. The three little wolves were playing hopscotch in the garden when they saw the big bad pig coming. They ran inside their house, bolted the door, and locked all of the 37 padlocks. So they had 37 locks. The pig dialed the video entrance phone and said, "Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china pot." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed and he puffed and he puffed and he huffed, but the house wouldn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He brought some dynamite and laid it against the house and lit the fuse, and the house blew up. The three wolves just managed to escape with their fluffy tails scorched. "Something must be wrong with our building materials," he said. "We have to try something different." But what? At that very moment they saw a flamingo coming along, pushing a wheelbarrow full of flowers. "Will you please give us some flowers?" said the little wolves. "With pleasure," said the flamingo, and he gave them lots of flowers, so the three little wolves built themselves a house of flowers. Now let's think about this. Is a house of flowers going to be strong like the others? One wall was of marigolds, one of daffodils, one of pink roses, and one of cherry blossoms. The ceiling was made of sunflowers, and the floor was a carpet of daisies. They had water lilies in the bathtubs and buttercups in the refrigerator. It was a rather fragile, so it's going to break easy house that swayed in the wind, but it was so beautiful. Next day, the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of flowers and the three wolves had built. He rang the blue bell, so it's a blue bell instead of a doorbell, at the door and said, "Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins and the scorched tails, let me come in." "No, no," said the three little wolves, "by the hair of our chinny chin chins. We will not let you in for all the tea leaves in our china pot." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. But as he took a deep breath, ready to huff and puff, he smelled the soft scent of the flowers. It was fantastic. And because the scent was so lovely, the pig took another deep breath and then another. And instead of huffing and puffing, he began to sniff. He sniffed deeper and deeper until he was quite filled with the fragrant scent. His heart grew tender, and he realized how horrible he had been. Right then, he decided to become a big, good pig, and he started to dance and sing. At first, the three little wolves were a bit worried. It might be a trick, but soon they realized that the pig had truly changed. So they came running out of the house and they started playing games with him. First, they played Pig Pog, and then Piggy in the middle. And when they were all tired, they invited him inside the house. They offered him tea and strawberries and wolfberries and asked him to stay with them as long as he wanted. The pig accepted, and they all lived happily together ever after. So, this story was very different than our last story that we read, right? So, what I want you to do is I want you to think about the three houses, actually four houses, that the three little wolves built. Remember, you had your first house of bricks, you had your second house, which was concrete, your third house, which had the armor bars and metal plates, and then the house of flowers. And what you're going to do is you're going to tell me, what did the big bad pig do to each of those houses? Okay, I'll have a picture. So you're going to tell me in Seesaw. All right, you guys have done an awesome job. Thank you.